everyone, welcome back to RESHMI'S Corner. Today we are here with a very useful concept, which is the easiest method of finding the HCF of how much ever big the number is or how much ever numbers you have. So let's go on to the method. Now before going on to the method, let us discuss what a highest common factor is. And for that, let us first revise the term factor or what is the common factor and then move on to the highest common factor. So what is a factor? Let's take an example so that will be more clear. Okay, so I'm going to take the example 12. So I'm going to write the factors of 12. So what is a factor? A factor is a number which divides a given number exactly. That means it leaves a remainder 0. So here I've got the number 12. I need to find out the factors. So what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. These are the factors of 12. Then what is a common factor? To find out anything common, there need to be two things so that you can compare. So let us take one more number. So I'm taking here 24. I'm writing the factors of 24. What are the factors of 24? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. So now I have written the factors of both the numbers 12 and 24. Now you need to find out what is common in both these factors. Which are the common numbers in both? 1 is common, 2 is common, 3 is common, 4 is common, 6 is common and 12 is common. So let us write the common factors down. So the common factors are, which all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Now among all these common factors, which is the highest one? And that is 12. So what is our highest common factor? Highest common factor of 12 and 24 is 12. So that is what we call it as HCF, which is the highest common factor, and here we got it as 12. This method, we can follow it for smaller numbers or if you're given with 2 or 3 or 4 numbers. But what if the numbers are bigger and you have more numbers to find? Then let's move on to our easiest method so that it requires a very less time. So let's see what the method is. Now, to understand the easiest method of finding the HCF, we move on to our first example, which is to find out the HCF of 12 and 8. Now, when we are given with two numbers, our first step is to find out which is the smallest number. Now, which is the smallest number here? 8 is our smallest number. Now, our second step is to check whether the other numbers can be divided by the smaller number exactly. Can 12 be divided by 8 exactly? No. So if our answer is no, then we need to find out the factors of 8. Now we write the factors from the greater number. So which is the factors of 8? 4, 2, 1. We need to find out the highest common factor. So we check with the highest factor, which is 4. So is 12 divided by 4 exactly? Yes, 12 can be divided by 4 exactly. So our HCF of 12 and 8 is 4. So this is our method. Now let us be more clear with a few more examples. Let us move on to the second example. Now this is a second example, which is to find out the HCF of 27, 9 and
18.
Now among all these three numbers, which is the smallest number? Here the smallest number is 9. So you need to check whether the other numbers can be divided by this 9 exactly. Can 27 divided by 9 exactly? Yes. And
Can 18
be divided by 9 exactly? Yes. So what is our HCF? HCF of 27, 9 and
18
is 9. Isn't it very easy? You get the HCF within seconds. Now let's move on to a third example. Let's deal with a little more bigger numbers. Now this is a third example, which is to find out the HCF of 8, 20, 24 and 42. Now among all these four numbers, which is the smallest number? Our smallest number is 8. So our first step is to check whether all the other numbers can be divided by 8 exactly. So can 20 be divided by 8 exactly? No. So 8 is not the HCF. So let's move on to our next step, which is to write the factors of 8. So let us write the factors of 8. 4, 2, 1. So now let us check for each factor starting from the greatest factor. Can 20 be divided by 4? Yes, 24 can be divided by 4 exactly, but 42 cannot be divided by 4. So 4 is not our HCF. Let's go on to the next number. 20 can be divided by 2, 24 can be divided by 2, and 42 can be divided by 2. So what is our HCF? HCF of 8, 20, 24 and 42 is 2. Isn't it easy? Now let's go on to a fourth example. Now this is a fourth example, and that is to find out the HCF of 12, 20 and 28. Now which is the smallest number among all these? 12 is the smallest number. Now let us check whether the other numbers can be divided by 12 exactly. 20 cannot be divided, 28 cannot be divided. So let's move on to our next step, which is the writing factors part. So let us write the factors of 12, that is 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let us check for each factor. Can 20 be divided by 6 exactly? No. Can 20 be divided by 4 exactly? Yes. Can 28 be divided by 4 exactly? Yes. So what is our HCF? HCF of 12, 20 and 28 is 4. So now let's move on to our next example, which is the fifth example. Now this is a fifth example, which is to find out the HCF of 30, 42 and 135. Now what is the first step? To find out the smallest number. Which is the smallest number here? 30. Now to find out whether the other two numbers can be divided by 30 exactly. No. So then you need to write down the factors of 30, which is 15, 10, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Now among all these factors you need to find out which is the highest common factor. So let's check whether 42 and 135 can be exactly divided by all these factors. So first let us take 15. Can this be divided exactly by 15? No. Can this be divided by 10? Again no. By 6? No. By 5? Again no. Then by 3? Yes, 42 and 135 is exactly divisible by 3. So what is the highest common factor here? Highest common factor of 30, 42 and 135 is 3. So now let's move on to our next example, which is the sixth example. Now this is our example 6, which is to find out the HCF of 24, 48, 60 and 96. So which is the smallest number in this? It is 24. So I'm going to start writing the factors of 24. Now I'm not going to write the whole of the factors, but I'm going to start from the greatest factor, and each time I write a factor, I check whether that is a common factor, so that you can save time. So what is the biggest factor of 24? Which is 12. Now I check whether 48, 60 and 96 can be divided by 12. Yes, it can be divided by 12. Exactly. Therefore, HCF of 24, 48, 60 and 96 is 12. Now let's move on to our seventh example. Let's deal with a little more bigger numbers. Now this is an example which is to find out the HCF of 360, 900 and 1260. Now what are the speciality of all these three numbers? All the three numbers ends with 0. So what I do is, to make my question more easier, I cancel all these zeros. So what are the remaining numbers? 36, 90 and 126. Now among all these three numbers, which is the smallest number? 36. Now I find out the greatest factor of 36, which is 18. Now to check for the divisibility, I need to put these zeros back. So I put the zeros back. Here also for the factor I put the 0. So now I can check the divisibility, whether 900 can be divided by 180. Yes, 900 can be divided by 180 and it divides 5 times. Is 1260 divisible by 180? Yes, it is exactly divisible and it divides 7 times. So what is our HCF? Our HCF of 360, 900 and 1260 is 180. Now let's move on to the last example, which is our eighth example. Now, this is our 8th example, which is to find the HCF of 1365, 1560 and 1755. So what do? We find out which is the smallest number. Which is the smallest number here? 1365. So let us find out the factors of 1365. That is 3 becomes 4, 5, 5 again by 5. It becomes 9, 1 by 7, it becomes 13. So what are the factors of 1365? That is 3, 5, 7 and 13. So now among all these factors, you need to find out what is the HCF of all these three numbers. Anyway, 13 can't be the HCF of such big numbers. So let us find out which all other numbers divide the other two numbers exactly. First, let us see 3. 3 divides 1560 and 1755. So in our HCF of 1365, 1560 and 1755, we write 3 into. Now let us check for 5. This number ends with 0 and this number ends with 5. So it is again divisible by 5. So 3 into 5. Let us check for 7. It is not divisible by 7. Next is 13. It goes in 13. 1560 goes 120 times and 1755 goes 135 times. So again it is divisible by 13. So this is our HCF, which is 3 into 5 into 13, which is 195. So this is our HCF. This is the easiest method of finding the HCF of how much ever number you've been given with and how much ever big the number is. Hope you've understood this method. So that is all for today.